This is Movie Night with the Boys.
Hi, welcome to Movie Night with the Boys. I'm Zach, and today we have a special guest with us, Johnny DC from The Dynamic Duel.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I gotta say, it's nice to be reviewing a film that is not a comic book film. I rarely do this. Actually, this might be like the first time I've ever done this on a podcast. So it's nice. It's nice.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate you being here, right? And again, me and John, we always give our praises to you guys. You guys inspired us to do this, right?
Yeah, you guys are the executive producers of Dynamic Duel, so you guys help us choose like what episode content we're going to be doing each week. So that's a lot of fun. I think we've done some phenomenal episodes. Some episodes I'm really proud of, based on you and the other executive producers' decisions. So kudos to you guys too.
For sure. Especially like that whole Batman Who Laughs. I've been waiting for that, and I knew he was gonna win, right? So
I was hesitant to do that one, but it turned out great. Yeah, I was proud of that one for sure.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy the duels and everything, right? I even listen to the reviews, even if I don't watch the movie, right?
I don't know why you do that. That's horrible. I cannot do that.
The only movie you ruined for me was the Wonder Woman one.
That's right. The animated film.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have noticed the Flash mask if you guys didn't say anything, right? So
yeah.
I mean, but most of the time I've watched the movie already, right? So
yeah,
it's not too bad. It's just a couple that I don't rush to get, and I'm like, yeah, let's hear what they have to say about it, and maybe I won't even watch it, right? But if it's DC, I'm watching it anyways.
Nice. It's good to hear.
Yeah. So, all right. So today we're gonna be doing The Gray Man, and it's based off a book, right?
Yeah, it's based off a book series apparently.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of them.
Me neither.
But, I let's see. I was looking up who wrote it. I don't even remember who wrote it. I had the name. Mark Greaney. I guess he also writes some Jack Ryan novels as well, which is fitting.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
overall, I enjoyed it. It was directed by the Russo brothers. Of Civil War, right?
It was Civil War. It was the Winter Soldier, and it was Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay.
So these directors are like some of the most profitable directors of all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
So it's kind of funny to see them like go to Netflix of all places, where their movie isn't going to be seen on big screens. Although I think this did have a limited theatrical release.
I have no idea. To be honest, I didn't do much background research on this movie. Right.
It did. I'm pretty sure it did. But I don't think it was in many theaters, and I don't think it was for long. I think it was really just to get into theaters for like potential award nominations, maybe for like stunts or like CG or something like that.
Makes sense. All right, so the movie is starring Ryan Gosling as Sierra 6. I'm just going to be referring to him as 6, which I'm pretty sure nobody called him Sierra 6 throughout the movie, right?
No. I have a sister named Sierra.
Okay. But it was weird because it's like they're the gray men, but they're also Sierras. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? That was a little confusing, right?
Sierra, I think was just the code name for them, and the gray man was sort of like a nickname for them amongst like other CIA industry personnel.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's how I understood it, at least.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right, then we also have Chris Evans playing Lloyd Henson. What did you think of Chris Evans being the bad guy?
I feel like we've seen the limit of his acting range. He's done a few bad guy roles recently, I think, to try and escape being typecast as Captain America, or or known too much as Captain America because that's such an iconic role, and so many actors who play iconic roles, especially like for superheroes, kind of tend to get typecast. You take a look at like Adam West, who can never
Yeah.
really get hired again after Batman, or like Christopher Reeve, or so many actors who have played Superman. I think he's trying to escape that by playing characters that are very, very different from Captain America, but he tends to kind of play them like the same way. He's a charming actor, he's a charming guy. So to see him try and come off as smarmy just kind of makes him look douchey. To me, he played the same kind of character that he did in Knives Out, which was a great film. But there's just like one moment in that film where he's like, "Oh, are you like? Let me guess. This is CIA KFC," and he just like laughed at his own joke, and it was just so cringeworthy. And I feel like most of this movie, I got that same kind of cringe vibe from his performance.
Okay. Yeah. I liked him in a couple like in Scott Pilgrim when he was the douchebag movie star
That's true.
guy,
Yeah,
right?
he
But
plays a semi good douche. I think it's just
yeah,
I don't know.
just so used to him seeing being, Mr. I don't curse and everything, Mr.
Right,
America, right?
right, right, right.
So it was pretty odd. Then we have Billy Bob Thornton as Donald Fitzroy. It was kind of nice seeing him back,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like I haven't seen him in a while. I
Yeah,
actually
that's
liked
cool.
him in this role. It was pretty low key. He was pretty stoic, but that's what the role called for, and I think he nailed it.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was great. And then lastly, we have Anna de Armas. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
As Agent Danny Miranda, and I'll be calling her Miranda throughout this. So if you get confused, 'cause I was like,
yeah.
shit, that's not her first name. And I must say, she was quite hot and quite a bad.
Always, always. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the newest James Bond film yet, where that she was in, but I've heard she's badass in that. And after seeing this, I
Okay.
totally believe it.
Yeah,
Um,
no, for sure.
yeah, she has a pretty decent range to her. Like she also was in Knives Out with Chris Evans, and she was essentially the star of that film, and she did fantastic there. So to see her do sort of like dramatic roles, she also did a movie recently with Ben Affleck. I forget what the name of that was. I didn't see it, but I know that was like another kind of like drama film. So to see her
Okay.
do that and action, I think she's going to go pretty far.
Okay. Yeah, no, she was great, right? I haven't seen the James Bond movie either, so I can't comment on that. But yeah, no, she was definitely great in this one. Like, especially at the end, like she was running in and stuff. I was like, oh
Yeah,
man, that's great.
it's cool
So
too because it was like a believable great. Like I feel like a lot of films, they'll throw toss in especially for like male targeted action films, like they'll put in like the damsel in distress kind of thing, or like they'll put in like what I like to refer to as like a jinx character. I'm not sure if you saw James Bond like Die Another Day, where they just have to put in like the badass chick, just to have her in there so that the film will appeal to women as well. I don't think Ana de Armas's character in this film was purely for like female appeal. I think her character kind of transcended that because she was so believable in her performance and just well written. I guess it was easy to buy what she was doing, like in her fight scenes and stuff like that. So
okay, yeah, no, I totally agree. She was great in this movie. So the Grayman, 2020. Is it Grayman or Gray Man? I
the
think it's
Gray
Gray Man.
Man,
Gray
yeah,
Man. All
the
right.
Gray Man.
I'm just
Although
so
in the movie, when Ana de Armas is speaking with the CIA director, and he says the Gray Men. I don't think they actually say the Gray Man in the movie.
okay, okay. But like it's kind of like Grayson, right? Like you don't say Gray Son, like Gray Son, like you know what I mean? You say Grayson,
Oh,
right?
Grayman.
So yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah. Thankfully they don't say it at all really through this, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
we'll hopefully don't run into that issue.
It's a cool concept, though. It's a really cool concept. I love the way that this film was set up.
Yeah, for sure. It makes sense too, right? Because there's always some kind of secret black ops like group, right? And they always have some cool code names, right? So
I was gonna say, yeah, like right off the bat, like in the prison scene, when I realized what was going on, I was like, oh, this is kind of like the Suicide Squad, which of course, as a DC fan, I love. And I love that it's not Marvel ripping DC off, but it almost feels like, someone was paying attention when they made the Suicide Squad, and they're like, hey, that could be like a good concept for like a book. I guess the book came out before the movie, but
Suicide Squad's been around for a long time too, right? So
yeah,
that concept's been out there.
Right. The concept being that you take this person who is imprisoned and charged with a crime and using them for good, essentially.
Right. And I mean, it kind of makes sense if you can actually figure out a way to control them. I mean, that makes the most sense, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I think, considering Ryan Gosling's character in this film as Six, he did something bad. He killed a person, but it was justifiable in a way, and that he suffered a lifetime of abuse and he was protecting someone else. So I'm sure that fit Billy Bob's profile to a T. Someone who committed murder justifiably and maybe was unjustifiably imprisoned for life because of it. So yeah, we could use this person because they're already used to killing. So we got that out of the way because I'm sure that's difficult for any normal person. And we would be able to control them.
yeah, right. And then also too, like you have to think about it. He did that as a teenager, right? So by the time we see him at the beginning of the movie, he's a young adult at least, right? So he's been
Yeah.
in jail for quite a while, right?
Well,
So
it's not quite clear when he did it, honestly. Like how long has he been in jail? Did he do it as a teenager? I'm not sure. They never
yeah.
showed that scene, right? It would have been nice to have seen that scene, I think.
Yeah, I just went off of the scene that we did, like the little flashback we do see of like his little brother being. I thought that was him, right? But I'm thinking now maybe it might have been his little brother, like getting dunked in the bathtub,
Well, it was
right?
his older brother that he said was
Oh,
suffering more of the abuse. So he would have been younger.
okay. So yeah, right. So I assumed it was around that time period, right? So
Yeah. There's this rule in filmmaking where you're supposed to tell, not show, because cinema is a very visual medium. So I always kind of hate it when, if, as he's talking, it's easy just to do like a flashback and do voiceover, explaining what's going on as you see it. I wish we would have seen that, honestly, because it would have brought a little bit more clarity as to like how long he's been imprisoned. Has he been hardened by prison life yet, or was he fresh for the picking by Billy Bob
yeah,
Thornton's character?
yeah, right. And yeah, where did he get all the scars from, right? I do enjoy that kind
Yeah,
of
totally.
background stuff too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, we did see him getting like burned by cigarettes, so those scars, we know where those came from. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
seeing
like
the amount,
that big like scar up his arm,
right?
I
Oh,
really wanted to
totally.
know where that came from, right?
Yeah, dude, he was ripped in this film. I was
Oh
like, is
yeah,
this CG? Like, I've never
right.
thought that Ryan Gosling would have been that shredded.
Yeah, right. Was so I'm assuming he's gonna be that shredded in the Barbie movie. Like he's gonna be a shredded Ken. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
So that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm not gonna lie, and we'll probably cover it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Depending, I have to see the trailer though. That's what me and John said. Me and John said we'll wait. We'll watch the trailer and we'll see. We'll see if we want to like watch it, right? Because if it's
Well,
like a comedy, I'll do that totally, right?
Ryan Gosling has said that it's the best script he's ever read. So I like Ryan Gosling. I think he's a fantastic actor. So if he's saying that, then yeah, I'm definitely checking out the Barbie movie. Not just for Margot Robbie, but I mean
Yeah.
mainly for her, but not
I
just for
guess
her.
I guess it's also too we're lucky because we have daughters, so we can use that as an excuse to go see the Barbie movie,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Right, so
brilliant.
yeah. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I'm curious. So
Me too.
we'll
Yeah.
see. And especially if he said it's the best script and he did the Notebook, right? That movie was that movie was great, you know what I
I've
mean?
never actually seen the whole thing. I've seen just like bits and pieces
No?
of it.
I've
Yeah.
seen that movie a few times, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like yeah, ladies
Is
love
it
that movie for
is
some
a
reason.
tearjerker?
A little bit, maybe the first couple of times, but if I watched it now, I'd be like, yeah, that kind of sucks. But
Yeah, no, he's
now,
another good actor that has a pretty broad range when it comes to like the types of genres that he can act in. There's a lot of actors who sort of seem to mostly fit into one genre, but he's not one of them.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a surprise when you see him back like in like an action role. It's like, oh, I haven't seen him do this in a while, and you kind of forget, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like he's
Yeah.
still good. I mean, in this one, it was a little overplayed, right? Like every time he got injured, he just kind of and then just like walked it off, and I was like, all right, you're like, come on,
Yeah.
you gotta, so.
There
That,
was definitely like many cases in this film of just like the notorious horrible aim on behalf of the bad henchman guys, and the main actor, the main protagonist is just freaking invincible, just unstoppable, just like a sure shot every time. Um, but I guess he was highly trained, so I guess that
yeah,
explains that.
right. At
He,
least since like early 20s.
yeah,
18,
yeah,
18 years he was doing it, right?
right, right.
Basically, the movie starts off. We get a quick back and forth between Ryan Gosling and Billy Bob Thornton. So between Six and I'm gonna call him Fitz, right? We see them. They're in a prison, and he basically offers him a way out of prison, but he has to work for the CIA indefinitely. Then we get the title card. I don't know about you, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to their like conversation at the very beginning of the movie,
Hmm.
right? Like I didn't think anything like no callback worthiness really happened there,
Well,
right?
the only thing I could think of was Six has fantastic taste in bubblegum,
Okay.
because that's what was it, like watermelon bubblicious? Yeah, that is the only gum there is, because it is delicious. Everything else is just second rate.
All right. All
So
right.
right away I was like, I identify with this character. I like him.
Okay. Okay. Well, you heard it here. Watermelon bubblicious.
I think it was watermelon, pretty sure.
No, it was. It 100% was. I guess for that, it was also setting up the callback of this guy was always chewing gum, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he chewed gum a lot. He had like a oral fixation, because it was either like a toothpick or gum, or
Yeah.
just something.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe ex-smoker, right? That's just the
Oh,
way. That's what he does, right?
yeah, maybe. I'm sure
Who
there's
knows?
something more in the book that explains why he always has something in his mouth, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I keep forgetting that it is a book too. So like there's probably definitely way more backstory on this guy, right?
Yeah. I always think of things like that. Like when I'm watching this movie that I know is based on a book. It's like, "Oh, why did they decide to do that? Is that in the book, and how much more detail do they go into in the book?" Cuz the book is always better,
Yeah,
There's
for
there's
sure.
been a number of films that have made me like want to go and read the book. I can't say this is one of them. I kind of like it just as, like a film, like a popcorn action film.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you those details are in there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so we pick up 18 years later in Bangkok and we see Six at a table where he's given a water gun, which I thought was very weird. I don't know,
Random. Super
right?
random. Nothing
Yeah,
happened with it.
no, you know what I mean? Well, he does use the gun to get into the room, right? But I was like, well, why couldn't you just give him a card? Like I didn't see the point of that. I thought a water gun would be more suspicious, right?
I honestly, my initial reaction was like, oh, is that like full of acid, or I was just trying to figure out the water gun. It was very distracting.
I thought that too, right? I was like, "Oh, is it poison in there?" And then he shoved it in his pants, and I was like, "Okay, well, there can't be anything bad in that gun, right? Because you would that like water guns drip, you know what I
Right,
mean? So,
right.
right? So I was like, I don't know, right? So yeah, he takes the water gun, he enters this room, he finds this big ass gun,
That was
right?
huge.
Right? Like it was a BFG, and I don't know if you know what a BFG is,
No,
but
big
in
fucking
Doom,
gun.
that's what it stands for, big fucking gun, right?
It was, yeah,
So
pretty equipped. Had like a mic on it and stuff. That was pretty cool. I've never seen that in a
yeah,
film.
right. And then some weird like camera that he could see through the floor, but like could he see everybody? And like was the target like lit up? Like I kind of don't remember that part,
Dude, I
right?
don't think he could even see. I think he was. I think it was all mic based. I think like
Okay.
as long as the mic was pointing at the target, he knew he was looking at him. But then like some like little kid's voice also popped into the mic, so he was like, "Oh, there's someone else in that area." I could be wrong, but I don't think he
Yeah.
was able to see through the floors except for maybe shadows.
Okay. No,
But
no, because
still a
like I
cool
thought it was like
concept.
the scope on it or something. Like for some reason I have this visual of him like looking through and he's seeing like you can see like blue outlines of people like on the gun scope, right? And then
Hmm.
the target was like orange. But
Oh, maybe I don't remember the scope.
yeah, me neither. Yeah,
I did
yeah.
I thought he was just gonna like shoot the ground underneath the glass and then like have the guy drop in. I don't know. That ended
Yeah,
up not happening though.
yeah. Well, I also thought like, how are they gonna get away with this? Because it's 2 floors of glass, so that means 2 layers are gonna break onto where he is, and then whoever falls in the hole, they know where he is. Like, I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about, military strategy, but I always figured having the high ground was better than having the low ground because you're right. Once he shoots through that glass, everything is going to come falling on him, and then what does he do? Then he has to face whoever falls through the glass.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, and exactly, especially if all the levels are like that, just shoot down. It would be so much easier.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Always
So
shoot from above.
yeah, totally. So he sets up his big gun, then he's contacted by his handlers in Langley, and then he is ordered to take the guy out because he's a threat to national security. We then see the target, codenamed Dining Car. I don't know why that's so weird.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see dining car. He pulls up, and we see Six set up. And like we were saying earlier, he's looking through the floors with sound or whatever it was, right?
Right.
And as he's about to take a shot, this little kid comes, and basically he's like, "Yeah, I can't do this. I can't."
Which is super cliche. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a government agent, I know this sounds horrible, but like you make sure he gets the job done. Like you have to have like morals off on an assassin, and I guess it's nice that the U.S. has assassins with morals, um, but that kind of means that they're not gonna be as effective.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I did think that was weird, right? Like he seemed like such a badass, like, but I mean, I guess they kind of just threw that out there for later plot in the movie so that you know
But
he kind of
yeah, it shows that he's a good guy. Absolutely, it shows that he cares about kids. Yeah, you're right. We do see that later on in the film with Fitz's niece. So I guess if, in hindsight, you could definitely see where he's coming from. But at the moment, I'm like, I mean, he's doesn't seem like a great agent until he decides to like do his own plan and hit the fire alarm and then just freaking starts owning guys. That was cool.
yeah, right. That was pretty sweet, right? So yeah, so he doesn't take the shot. He goes and he hits the fire alarm, which causes the target to leave, right? So as they're leaving, we see Six. He slowly just picks off a couple of the guards in the back, and then for some reason just decides to grab a bottle and smash it over the one guy's head and just start like, kind of like a brawl between him and all these guys,
No, I thought
right?
that was cool because like he used it. He knocked one guy out with the bottle, but then he used that broken bottle to stab another guy in the neck. It was like two birds with one stone.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? But I thought he was just gonna go sneak up and just like gank, gank, gank,
Stealthy.
like yeah, stab them all, right? Just
Yeah.
straight like Assassin's Creed style.
Right,
But
right, right.
you know, even when I play those games, that is not how I play. I go in full force, you know, sword swinging, right?
I like stealth.
So
I like stealth games like Splinter Cell, stuff like that. But he could
yeah,
have easily like anytime he took a guy down, like would pick up like a butter knife or something like that and use that. Then he would let go of it. It's like just keep using that.
yeah, right. Like stab and pull out, right?
Right,
But
right.
I don't know. It
Still
was
cool
still
though.
it was
Still a
still
really cool
cool.
scene.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the target, he jumps out the window, right? Ryan Reynolds finished or Ryan Reynolds. Jesus Christ. I knew I was gonna do that. I knew I was gonna do that.
That's funny.
So yeah, so the target jumps out the window. Six finishes up what he's doing. He jumps out the window. We get a cool fight scene with Agent Miranda, and she's fighting, I don't know, some Asian guy, right? I
Right.
don't was he just like a bodyguard, or was he the guy that he was gonna give the information to?
No, I think he was one of Tierra 4's henchmen. I could be wrong.
Okay, because I thought he was the guy that he was meeting with, right?
Possibly, possibly.
Yeah. So and then it was his kid. So that kind of makes more sense because why would your bodyguard dude have a kid with him? You know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true.
So so Agent Miranda, she's fighting, the buyer's men or the buyer himself, right? And we get a
Mhm.
cool little scrap there. I thought, okay, that was all right. You know what I mean? I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
You know, it was nothing too crazy. So basically,
believable. It was believable, and like I said earlier, that's what I liked about this film. It wasn't too overly choreographed. I feel like the Russos definitely know how to do action.
yeah, oh,
They
yeah,
knew how to do really good action, and I think just you could tell from this opening action scene what kind of caliber action this film was going to bring.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I enjoyed all the combat in this for sure, and that's some of the stuff I love the most, right?
That's cool to hear from you because I'll buy anything honestly, but to see like an actual martial artist like you critique action and say that it's good, then just makes me feel good about how I viewed it.
Yeah, right. Well, it's more so like military combat, right? Like it's a mixture of all of that stuff, which I would love to do that someday. That would be really cool. You know what I
Uh
mean?
huh.
Uh, I
Or
guess
lethal,
gun fu. You know what I mean? That'd be
right?
really cool. But like
Yeah,
I mean, it's possible to get guns here, but like it's not. You know what I mean? Like it's a pain in the ass too, right? Like we can't go to Walmart and buy a gun. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Right.
Can't really do that here either. I mean, they're sold out everywhere. Apparently, I don't have a gun, but I hear they're hard to get.
Just like in your state.
I think all over the country. I think
Okay.
in most states, yeah.
Okay. Man, America and their guns. Basically, we get a cool little fight, like again, like we said, good choreography, right? A little fight down in the fireworks. The only thing that I had an issue with was you're not having a full-on fight with fireworks going off right beside your head, and you guys are not like your ears aren't just exploding. You know
They
what
were
I
trained
mean?
for it, dude. They were trained. They were purposely like put in like a simulation fight where fireworks were going off all around them, so they knew what was going on.
Yeah. All right. All right, if you say so. But yeah, other than that though, like great fight, right? I loved how like, he goes tries to put his head in the firework and then, Ryan Gosling dodges and then he does it to the guy and, he gets hit, right?
Right.
Six gets the upper hand, stabs him in the was it in the heart? It looked like it was in that area,
Yeah,
right?
it was
In
like
the
the torso
chest.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And basically the guy's like, I'm four, I'm Sierra 4. You just killed one of your own, right? And he hands
Right.
him this, necklace with thumb drive in it, right?
Right. And I feel like this actor was like this is the first time I've heard him in a movie without like some kind of Eastern European accent because he plays like the tough bad guy in a lot of films. Like I think that's the only role I've ever seen him play. So once he
Yeah.
popped up, sure enough, I was like, oh, here's the Eastern European bad guy. But no, he had an American accent. It turns out he was also CIA. So that was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised, right?
Yeah, he was
Um,
KG Beast in Batman v Superman, and he was like a Russian soldier in The
is
Winter Soldier. So
is that who he was? I've never even like looked up like the character that he played in that movie. I just
yeah,
know that he was, yeah, and got
yeah,
lit on
yeah,
fire.
right.
Okay, okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that was KG Beast. That's hilarious.
He has a pretty cool like resume in terms of like comic street cred. He's played some badasses.
Yeah, right. Then we see Ryan got or Six. He basically burns himself with the CIA, right? He takes the information. He doesn't go when he gets called back, right? And so basically the CIA thinks they turn on him. And then we see the CIA, they contact Lloyd Henson, right? To
Right.
basically find Six. And this is where we first see, evil Captain America.
Yeah, the trash stash.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it's funny that goes back to the villainous stereotype with the mustache, the evil character with the mustache.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, Chris Evans may have well been like twirling his mustache in this film for how hammy he kind of played it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Calling
So,
people douche and saying like ballsy and stuff like that. Just these weird one-liners that just seem so out of place with the script.
yeah, I
You
it
could
was it
you
was
could
hard. It was
yeah,
hard to get used to. Yeah.
you could tell he had fun with it, but as a viewer, I can't say I enjoyed it as much as he did.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, I kind of give him a break just because he went from being Captain America to being Buzz Lightyear, right? They're pretty much the same character. You know what I mean? Like
I could see that. I haven't seen the movie yet,
personality
but
wise, right?
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I actually haven't seen the movie either. But just going off of like, the stereotype of the toy when Andy first got him, right? And
yeah.
even just the cartoon that I don't know if you ever seen the Buzz Lightyear cartoon, but
No,
I used to love that when I was a kid. That show was pretty cool.
I feel like Buzz Lightyear is so much more than like the straight-laced soldier, though. At least in the Toy Story films.
No, well
So,
that's the toy, right? And like the toy, being corrupted, but like in the TV show, you know what I mean? Like he was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, right? Like he was, oh, I have to stop Zurg and yada yada, right? So
mhm.
so I could be totally wrong, but like I know what happens in the Buzz Lightyear movie, right? So
Gotta stop spoiling stuff for yourself. What are you doing?
no, because I wasn't gonna go see it. I heard it was really, really bad. So
I heard that too.
my cousin does a podcast, so they actually reviewed it. So
Oh,
I was listening to his episode, and I basically like, heard everything,
okay.
right? So but yeah, nobody really liked it. I don't know why, and then all the complaints and stuff. I was like, "Oh, really? A girl kisses a girl? Oh no." Like, you know what I mean? It's not even like they make out. It's like a peck, right? It's like a "Hi honey, I'm home," type of kiss, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And everybody's making that a big deal. Like, "Oh, we can't even play it in China," right? And it's like, "Oh, come on, guys." Like,
yeah. Disney has a China problem, that's for sure, and that
yeah.
they can't put a lot of their films there.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. Then we see Six. He contacts Fitzroy for help on leaving the country, right? So he sets him up with that, and we see some mercenaries. They pick up Six and they fly him away. We then see Lloyd, and he's confronting like Fitz, and he's like, or sorry, he calls Fitz, and he's like, where's Six? Tell me. And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, I got your daughter, or sorry, your niece, right?
right.
So
Well, he
you better
didn't call
tell
him.
me.
He met him at that funeral, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was at the
Yeah.
funeral, right? I was thinking like, oh yeah, no, they didn't meet till they were sitting in the car together. But then I was like, wait a sec. Yeah. So yeah. So he meets up with him. He shows him the picture of his niece, Claire, and yeah, he basically gets the information. So then that's when we see the two of them together in the car.
Right.
And then Fitz contacts, well, before we see them in the car, Fitz contacts the mercenaries that picked up Six, and he tells them, eliminate him and bring me what he has on him, right?
Which was interesting because, like, the rest of the film, I was just waiting. I wasn't quite sure whether or not to trust Fitz. He was kind of this ambiguous character who, like, seemed to be turn on Six on a dime.
Yeah.
Right away he was like, "Kill him." He didn't know that Six was going to survive. That he may have hoped that, but you didn't get to see that. So right off the bat, like, it felt like a pretty big betrayal.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it also led to, like, I think the coolest action scene in the movie, like the signature action scene of the entire film.
Oh, for sure. Like if you want to talk about like flashy action and stuff, it doesn't really get more flashy than blowing up a plane, killing the group of mercenaries, like, and then blowing up the plane, and then like that whole like skydiving out of the plane and strangling Buddy with the parachute, pulling the parachute. I was like, yo, this guy's pretty badass.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen like a lot of plane fights. Like even recently in the what was that movie? The Tom Holland movie with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, Uncharted.
Yes, Uncharted. Like that was a cool scene, but like I feel like this even topped that in terms of just like the stakes and like just how everything was blowing up around them and how the plane was like rolling and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Okay. Yeah, I
The
haven't
way
seen Uncharted.
I haven't either actually, but I saw that action scene.
Okay.
That was like
Okay.
the one of the trailers that they released was that action scene in its entirety.
Gotcha.
Um,
I was so turned off of it not being Nathan Fillion that I didn't care about it. So I've never seen it.
yeah, it should have been him.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I played all the games and that's very Uncharted like. So I mean,
Really.
they can't do Uncharted without having some kind of jumping out of a plane type thing, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like the final guy where he just like wrapped the fact that he like fell out of the plane without a parachute, I was like, oh damn, how's he gonna get one? How's he gonna survive this? But the way he just like expertly, while spiraling through the air, like took that guy out and like wrapped his own parachute cord around his neck and then pulled the cord. That was badass. That was insane. That has got to be like one of the coolest like spy killing scenes in spy movie history.
Yeah, no, that was pretty badass. That was pretty badass. I really enjoyed it. Basically, as Six lands, he calls Fitz and he learns that Lloyd wants him. Lloyd is the one who set up all of this and basically kidnapped his niece, right? So then we see Lloyd has a big ass group of mercenaries. Basically, they start loading onto different planes and they're just flying around the world looking for this guy, which is insane, right? At this point, we then get a flashback from 2 years earlier, and we see that Six was forced to babysit Claire because Fitz had something to do. So we basically learn that he has this background with this girl. She has this heart issue, right?
Yeah.
So something happens and he has to take her to the hospital. So that kind of, you know what I mean, builds that connection for them.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, as soon as they showed this scene, I was like, oh, okay, I know what's happening here. Right. Um,
He's bonding
and
with her.
yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, this movie's now going to be about rescuing this little girl. You know what I mean? Like, I was just
Right,
like,
right, right.
and I was like, okay, all right.
And it's like a little girl with a peacemaker, which honestly I thought was going to play into the film some way other than just tracking her down. Because usually in a film, the worst thing that can happen has to happen in a way in order for the stakes to build up to like the climax. But we
Yeah.
never had a moment with her where like her heart failed or anything like that. I
Well,
thought it was
just that,
going to
just
be
that one connection scene. Like, that's the only time that
right.
happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Before the main events of the movie happened, you had that just kind of randomly happen. But I
Mhm.
figured like maybe in the maze something was going to go wrong or something like that. Never did. Never
Okay,
happened.
yeah, yeah, like when they jumped out of the window into the water, I thought, "Oh,
Right.
no, that can't be good." Like, they're
Right.
they're talking about, like, picking her up off the bed and moving her out of the room is an issue. Like, well, what
Right.
about her jumping out a damn window, you know what I mean? So,
Freaking 4 stories into the water. Yeah.
right? So, I don't know, maybe the hospital actually fixed it properly. Who
There's
knows,
that. Yeah. It's like a
right?
foolproof peacemaker. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then basically we see he kills an assassin. I guess, he's there to protect the little girl, right? Because Fitz's address was leaked. So I was like, why didn't they just move? Why? I don't get that.
Yeah, I guess once you know the address once, like you could always track them going forward. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah, right. It was very weird, but whatever.
Even if that was the case, like one guy went after them. It wasn't like I guess only one bad guy group was able to track them down or whatever.
Yeah, well, at
And,
least at least what they showed us.
yeah, yeah,
Right. But I was like, well, so then that little girl is just constantly in danger, even when, you know what I mean, like Fitz is around, right? So
right,
I was like,
right,
move, move. You know what I mean? So
right.
I thought that was a little weird, right? But then we cut back to present day, and now we're in Vienna, and we see Six, and he grabs this like to-go bag that was like, did you not think that bag was a little suspicious? Like just sitting in the middle of the room, nothing else there, right? I was like, is there a bomb in there? Like, what's gonna
Oh,
happen?
right. I thought the same thing.
Right? So basically, the bag is just filled with money, a gun, and some clothes, right? Which this is the weird part about that. In those same bags, normally you would have passports, right?
He has to go
So
get his.
yeah, right. So I know it was just a plot in the movie, but like that didn't really make sense. You have this like international spy who doesn't have to-go bags with, to-go passports. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Right? So I thought that was weird. Um,
Poor
Right.
planning.
Basically, right? So he also has this little book and it has a bunch of names and stuff written in it. I didn't pause the movie and read what it really said. I just when he glanced at it, I seen the dry cleaner thing, and that was about it, right?
Right.
But yeah, so basically he goes to see this dry cleaner. We learned that he makes passports and he's a hacker of some sort, right? So he hacks the system and gets the serial number of the pacemaker,
Which was
right?
smart, which was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really smart way to track her down. Really, I mean, convenient, but also cool.
Yeah, but even with that though, still like I didn't think he was actually gonna go and look for the girl, right? I thought because he got burned, he was just like he was gonna say like, well, fuck this guy, you know what I mean, and then just go
Right?
about his day. But I was like, oh, okay, and I
He
don't
was
know
too
what
good
it
of a
is,
guy.
man.
He was too good of a
Yeah,
guy. Like you can't, a good
yeah,
guy can't let a kid get hurt.
yeah, right. Well, especially one where he's already saved her life twice. You know what I
Right?
mean? As
Right?
they've
Right?
shown us, who knows how many other assassins he killed, right?
Right?
But, going back to what we were talking about, like in the Notebook, like with the feels and stuff, like, yeah, I don't care about all that stuff. But if it has to do with like a a dad figure and like a little girl, like that gets me every single
Totally,
time,
totally.
right?
I think it, I mean, I'm sure it helps that I'm a father of two daughters, and you a father of a daughter as well. Just like
Yeah.
the protective nature we have for our daughters, and probably our sons if we had sons. But
Yeah.
it's really easy to they're just these beautiful innocent creatures, and you don't want to see anything happen to them. So, but in that sense, his motivations were relatable.
Yes, okay, yeah. No, for sure, right? And yeah, I don't know, like any movie now that involve like I swear to God, I don't know what it is. Everything I've seen on like Netflix is now between like a father and his daughter. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, you know what
Maybe
I
just
mean?
notice it more
I think
now that
that's
you
what
are
it
a
is.
father. Yeah,
Yeah, right. And it gets me
yeah.
every time. I'm just like, God damn it. I'm supposed to be the asshole, you know? uh
We're
yeah.
softies. We're all softies.
Yeah, no, especially when it comes to that little nugget.
Yeah,
That's what we call her. All she wants to eat is chicken nuggets, and it's annoying.
dude, chicken. That's the only thing they'll eat. It's like
Yeah,
try something with some flavor. Nope, chicken.
but yeah, like I mean, I get it. I when I was growing up, I only wanted chicken. Like I would go and eat the sides and then just not touch the meat unless it was chicken, right?
That
I was pretty bad. I
sounds
mean,
like
I'd
my
eat
daughter.
eat lasagna and spaghetti, right? But if they're made like steaks or something, I just like yeah, no. I'll have whatever's going with it.
But as an adult, I'm like, give me that steak.
Yeah, right. No, even now more so, like, as soon as I hit my 30s, I was like, "Yeah, I want steak. I want steak." You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
yeah. After he gets the serial number for the pacemaker, it's called the pacemaker, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not peacemaker. Not to be confused
Yeah,
with
yeah,
peacemaker.
right. I've been trying very hard not to say peace. That's why it sounds awkward when you hear me say pacemaker. It's like I'm like pacemaker. It's pacemaker, right? Oh, maybe that's what his helmet is. Like maybe that's like a pacemaker. That's what
Well,
his
that's
helmet
interesting.
is.
I never thought of that. That's a
Yeah,
good justification. I think his name
right.
is a play on pacemaker anyway. So maybe.
Well, the I don't think so.
You don't think
Because
so?
pacemaker's supposed to keep you alive. His job is to kill you.
But like the word peacemaker, I guess just sounds like no one says that. No one's a peacemaker.
No, well, I mean, going off of John Cena's character, it definitely makes sense why he calls himself that.
True.
Like he
True.
makes him seem like such a douche that would name himself, "Yes, I am the peacemaker."
That's true. That's very true. I
Right?
love
So
that interpretation of the character. He's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, no, John Cena is amazing. I really enjoy that too. So So yeah, so after he gets the pacemaker serial number, then we see he's taking pictures for his passport. And I was like, why is the camera set up like this? This makes absolutely no sense. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Six himself realized what was going on, but like he still did it anyways. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right?
I,
And
I mean, I
so
saw that coming a mile away. Like, who didn't see that coming a mile away? This guy literally had like a mustache to twirl, like easily. It just he was too weird. Of course, he was going to double cross him,
yeah,
and
right.
it was kind of interesting the way he like trapped him in that well. Like, I had no idea how Six was going to get out of that. I thought I thought the way that he did manage to do it was really smart. And that's what I like about this film is that he finds really smart ways to get out of these situations that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never would have thought to do that. He's really good.
Yeah. I think you would actually really enjoy this show. It's called Burn Notice, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
People keep telling me to watch it. I haven't seen it yet, but
I think you would like really enjoy it. It's like it's basically a burnt spy, right? And
yeah,
then it's episode by episode he's doing something different, right? So there's a background story going on the whole season, right? But
yeah,
each episode he's like, "Oh, he's helping this person, he's helping that person." But like the whole thing is he's like explaining to the viewers like, "Oh, okay. So if you want to make a bomb," and he basically like, Cliff Notes shows you how to make like a fake bomb to send to the head of the CIA to get their attention because they're ignoring you. Because like once you're burnt, like they have no contact with you, right? So
uh
he's
huh,
like, he's teaching you all these things. He's like, oh, so if you ever get shot, right? Obviously you don't follow these like things, right? But it's like it's a really cool concept of how it is, and like a spy, and he's kind of like a MacGyver, just making stuff out of
that's
anything.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
right.
really
So I
cool.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy that. Yeah, if you really like, if you like that Ryan Gosling, that concept there of what he was doing in this movie, I think you'll
Yeah,
enjoy that series a lot. Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
and I mean, can't go wrong with spies. Like, I love that show. You know what I mean? So
The spy genre is one of the coolest genres, in my opinion, because you know that there are spies who may be like this well trained in real life.
right?
It's not fair, but it's
Yeah,
just also insanely cool.
yeah, oh yeah. Like, I wish I could have been recruited to work for the CIA or whatever it is in
Right?
Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? That'd be pretty awesome. But then we
What is
wouldn't
the
be talking.
Canadian CIA?
I have no idea.
Really?
I have no idea. I've
I'm
never
sure you guys have
like
one.
I'm pretty sure, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the same like same name. I have no idea. You know what I mean?
It's just that secret, that clandestine. That no one even knows what the name of it is.
Yeah, right.
That'd be
So then we cut to Berlin where we see Agent Miranda. She's being interrogated about Six, and this is where we get the explanation of what the gray men are.
yeah.
And then we also see basically Six setting up his escape from the well, right? Now, here's my issue. If you're in a well, there's no pipes. You know what I mean? So that was a very, very convenient kind of plot hole there because, like, you wouldn't have a pipe in a well, right? The well is supposed to be like a natural spring, right?
Right. It was weird. I think maybe like he made it into like a dungeon kind of thing. So maybe he when he bought the place he configured it so that yeah like they would land on ground and then the water that was under there that he still needed access to he just put plumbing under there. I
Yeah,
guess I don't know. I don't know why
yeah.
that plumbing would be exposed, but I'm not a plumber. I don't know.
Yeah, no, so that like, that other than like convenience, right? It didn't make sense why that was there, right? But he pops the pipe, fills up the well with water, gets to the top, triggers some kind of explosion with the gunpowder from one of his bullets, right? I think I
Yeah.
kind of looked away and I missed how he put that together. I seen
Well, it
him pouring
wasn't
out
just
the
one of
gunpowder.
his bullets. It was multiple bullets. It was like probably his like entire magazine that he had to use.
Okay.
Because that was a big ass explosion. That
Yeah.
was that was
Yeah.
bigger than I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically he blows the top of the well. He gets out. Um, before he does that, Leon, Lloyd's men show up, right? And they kill the guy, right? I was like, yes, that guy deserves to die, right?
Yeah.
And either way, right? And then they go and they all his men surround the well, and then Buddy blows it up and he takes out all the guys. Just like one shot, just takes them all out. And I was like,
Except for Lloyd.
right? And I was like, "Really? Like that's it?" Right? So, right? So 6 comes out of the well. He takes down 1 or 2 remaining guys and then him and Lloyd have this quick little back and forth and Lloyd gets the upper hand, but 6 pulls I guess he like drops a grenade or whatever. So they both run and I thought
I
that
want to
was
know where he got the grenade.
I think it was on Lloyd's like belt. I'm pretty sure
Was
it was
it?
his. I think it was his grenade. Like it wasn't. I don't think it was Six's. Right. I don't know. I'd
He-
have to rewatch that scene. But yes, I don't know where the grenade came from.
okay. Well, that makes sense. I feel like Lloyd would have felt that come off of his belt, but maybe Six is just like a really good pickpocket or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like those guys were pretty well equipped, so he could have picked it off of any of those bodies as well.
True. That's
Right.
true. That's very true.
So yeah, even if Lloyd didn't have it, he could have got it from the guy he killed on the steps. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that goes back to kind of that badass, like, kind of planning stuff is like, oh, how the hell did he even know to grab that grenade that he would need that grenade? You know what I
Just
mean?
resourceful.
Yeah, right. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, so they have that quick back and forth. Grenade goes off. They both kind of leave, and Six jumps out of a window. I thought he was getting away. He thought he was getting away, right? And then obviously Lloyd comes, pulls a gun on him, tells him, stop. And at this point, he gets shot in the ass. America's ass got shot. Just, just throw that out there, you know what I mean? And and then we see basically Agent Miranda. She's helping out Six, right?
Yeah.
So they
it was kind of a case of Deus Ex Machina in that like the hero didn't really do anything to kind of triumph. Miranda just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, not quite sure how she located him or even got there in time, honestly. Did she see the address to the place where Six was on the CIA director's phone? Is that where she got
I,
that?
I think that's what they were trying to do because after he was like looking at his phone, they cut to her and it was like she was trying to read it off his eyeballs, like, so, and I know that is a spy skill that they kind of you're supposed to be able to do, right? Like
Really
read from the reflection in the eyes. Yeah, right.
interesting.
So I think maybe that's what she was doing, or she was just looking at the screen, right? But we could be more realistic. She was looking at the screen, so I think that's how she got the information.
Okay.
Yeah, somehow like that way. But I she jumped she yeah, so she left the office and jumped in her car and went. I was not expecting her to head over there. You know what I mean?
Right, right. To right away go help Six.
Yeah, right. So I thought that was kind of weird, but
It was really just to save her career, which okay, I guess. But
that
yeah,
seems
like
a little much though, right?
yeah, like part of me would have figured like she would have just left it to whoever was handling it and not try and interject herself, or at least go to like what's her name,
Um,
Jessica, or at least go to like Jessica Henwick's character, who was supposed to be in
Suzanne,
charge of Suzanne, who was in charge of the operation, and see like how she could help or something like that. But no, she just decided to go rogue along with Six. Okay.
right? Yeah, right. But yeah, no, that's what I mean, right? Like so you show up, you see a guy trying to bring Six in and you're going to trank the guy and then take Six. Like that was kind of a little weird, but so we pick up in Croatia with Lloyd and Fitz and we learn some of the agency as Suzanne. She doesn't really agree with what Lloyd's doing, right? They have a quick back and forth, and when we see him just like spaz out, throws coffee on the floor, I was like, "Oh, what a little bitch!"
Dude, totally. Totally. Absolutely. I was thinking
Right?
the same thing. Like how immature and like why would anyone work with this guy or work for this guy? He's doing stuff like that. He's constantly yelling at people and just being a douchebag, threatening to kill people with their keyboards. It's like
Yeah,
this no one likes this guy. No one would work with this guy in real life. It was ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, you'd have to pay me a lot of money, and I'm hoping that those mercenaries were getting paid a lot of money because to put up with that shit, I would
Right.
just kill. I would have just if I was one of those mercenaries, I would kill that guy and be like,
Totally.
I'm the captain now. All right, like you know.
Yeah,
So
that kind of attitude totally breeds mutiny. There's a
yeah,
reason leadership qualities are sort of known as these admirable qualities, not just like being a whiny little spoiled brat. No one wants to work for someone like that.
yeah, exactly. Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't like him. But then we see Fitz and his niece, they're reunited. And then we cut back to Miranda and Six. And he kind of convinces her to work with him, right? So he gives her the location of where he sent the thumb drive. So they head off to Prague,
Yeah, and
which,
every time they introduced a new location, they would do like these kind of like really rushed, sweeping like drone shots. And I'm not sure how many of those were real. Some of them were definitely faked, but it was kind of like a visual motif that they used throughout the film. It was pretty unique. Because usually in a lot of spy films, like you'll see like a title over that'll say like, "Oh, we're in this part of the world now," because spy films tend to be these globe-trotting films that take you all over the
yeah,
world. But after a while, like I just kind of got sick of those shots. Like they were just kind of like dizzy. I didn't think they were necessary. Kind of took you out of the film. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they literally could have just had a zoom in, like a shot of just panning in, and then just Prague, and they
Yeah,
pan in to the location. Would have been
why
much
not?
better, right?
Why not?
But yeah, I don't know. That was a weird film choice, but you know,
I agree. I agree. Stylistic cinematography isn't always as well received or by audience members as I think the directors intended to be.
yeah, right.
And in a spy
So
film, you want things to be believable. Like the more believable the spy film is in my opinion, like the better it is. Like when James Bond was like just being a badass and just like using his gun, that was cool. But once he starts like pulling out like lasers and stuff like that, it ruins the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, yeah, right. But I guess we were also led to believe, like with James Bond specifically, that they have all this cool technology that we
That's
don't
true.
know about, right?
Yeah.
But again, in other spy movies, you don't really see that kind of stuff. You just see some of the most like high tech equipment, but it's
Yeah.
nothing over the top, like a shark with a laser on his head.
Or
You
like
know?
invisible cars or anything like that, I think that's
Yeah,
what I liked about like the James Bourne movies.
yeah, right. We pick up with Lloyd. He's interrogating Fitz, and basically he starts to torture him because he can't get any of the information. This is kind of going back to what you said earlier, like tell and don't show, right? I was thankful they didn't show this scene.
Well, it's the reverse of that. Show don't tell.
Yeah, well, okay. I enjoyed how it was tell and not show, and they just pull this guy's fingernails off, and then you know what I mean? They just put
They
them on
did
the
show
table,
it. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
right? Well, I actually got up to get a drink on the first one, so
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they actually showed the first one, but when I got back, I was like, "Oh, I don't want to look," and then I was like, kind of looking away, and I was like, "Oh, okay, they didn't show it." I was like, "Okay, thank God."
I
I
think
don't
what they
that stuff grosses me out so much.
Yeah, it was gross. Did you find the whole like thing with the ear twisting awkward?
I
Like
did. I was like, that looked
I
like a
was like,
little
what?
kid throwing a temper tantrum. Like, give me my
Exactly.
toy back, right?
It's just like I associate like pulling ears like something that like a teacher or like a parent would do to like a little kid when they're misbehaving or not listening or something like that. Just like
Yeah.
twisting ears as a form of torture. I guess I'm not familiar with it. Maybe, sure. Just awkward though.
Yeah. No, but I did enjoy how he kind of made up for it because he was like, you know that there? That's not even torture. I just came up with that right now. And I was like, yeah, that seems like you were throwing a temper tantrum. Like, yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was
I
like,
totally
that was a good one.
I totally believe that wasn't torture. That you just made it up. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, I was like, wow, you're an idiot. But I enjoyed it. Right. So then we cut to Prague and we see Six and Miranda. They arrive at the contact ex-CIA UK head, Maggie, and then we learn she's hacked the thumb drive. We learn that Carmichael was doing all kinds of messed up shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's the bad guy. And
Yeah.
so we find out Four probably found out all this information, was like, fuck this guy, and decided to go and trade off the information, and that's why he was killed,
I
right?
can't say it was like the biggest revelation of what was on this thumb drive though, because we knew that Carmichael, the head of the CIA, the director, was like a douchebag just by the way he was talking with Ana de Armas's Miranda character, and the fact that he would hire a guy like Lloyd. It's like, okay, well, yeah, no secret here what's on this thumb drive. Everybody fucking knows, or at least
Yeah.
everybody in this film knows that this guy is doing shady shit. So I wish it was something more revelatory, but it was fine, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing like very bad, but like not something you wouldn't expect from somebody in his position. I was hoping for
Yeah,
something more scandalous. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
As
yeah,
a
totally,
right?
absolutely.
E- Even
Or something
something
more
like
like earth threatening or something like that.
yeah, right?
Nation
Like
nation
act
destroying.
like they said that what he was going for, right? Like a threat to national security, right?
Yeah,
That guy
yeah,
being a piece of shit is not national security. But I
no,
mean, you got to tell your spies what you got to tell your spies. They're not supposed to look at said packages anyways, right? So
right,
I
right,
mean, you feed them the line, they're supposed to go with it, right? So
yeah.
whatever. So at this point, Lloyd's men, they show up, they shoot up the place, but hit nobody, right? Like they
Yeah.
lit that place up, hit nobody. They toss a grenade in, blow up the joint. Actually, the grenade really didn't do anything, right?
No,
Like,
which it should have. I feel like another one of the dynamic little patrons, Kent Johnson, was just rolling his eyes during that scene because yeah,
yeah.
that shrapnel would have gone everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, you see the room kind of blow out and there would be a hole in the floor, right? And
I'm
I
pretty
had an
sure.
yeah, and I had an issue with this in another movie where this guy was holding a bunch of dynamite and then the other dude shot the dynamite, blew it up, like he was like standing maybe 10 feet away from him,
Jeez.
and nothing happened. They were inside of a house, and nothing happened. The house didn't fall down. Like, the glass blew out on the house, and that was it. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? Right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was another one of those, like, for some reason, the explosions inside, it doesn't damage anything, right?
Right. Sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of like writers just aren't familiar with how some things work, and I'm guilty of that too. But I also remember seeing another movie like way back when. I think it was called like Torque, where like this girl had a shotgun and this guy had handcuffs, and she like shot out the handcuffs, like, and she was just like right next to him. It's like that would have sprayed everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
ridiculous
exactly.
things like that.
Right. I don't know how well it would even work to like shoot handcuffs like right in your face like that as well, right?
I think you'd get really hurt.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's something that we should probably ask Ken Johnson about.
For
Ask
sure.
him over in the chat, right? Is
Yeah.
it possible to shoot the middle of handcuffs and get them off without doing any type of damage? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He's been in the military. He's gonna be like, hell no.
Right? So it's always nice having to ask him those kind of gun related questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
As Lloyd's men enter the room, Maggie kind of shoves Six into an little escape hatch under, like, I don't know, in the floor, right?
Yeah.
Miranda, she left earlier to go get the car. Rich, I was like, yo, why did it take her so long to get the damn car? Like that, like, I was like, where the hell is she? You know what I
Totally.
mean? Right?
Yeah.
That
I was
whole
like waiting
time,
for. Yeah. Exactly. I was like, does it take this long to get the car?
right?
But I was pretty sad when Alfie Woodard her character was she essentially kind of committed suicide for the sake of Six and the niece that he was trying to save. And they established that she was dying anyway,
Yeah.
but so they could get away with something like that, in a sense. But
Yeah,
it
exactly.
still, it just gets you right in the feels when anytime I see like that kind of like, not that kind of like brotherly kind of sacrifice or like soldier sacrifice, it always kind of
Yeah.
just chokes me up. Not that it
Oh,
did
yeah.
here, but most of the time it does.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, right? But I don't know. Like, see, this is what I mean. Like, unless it's about a guy and his daughter, I don't really care. I was like, okay, it makes sense. She's dying, so she'll sacrifice herself. I was like, oh, okay, I get that, right? I'm more
Yeah.
like I understand it and I don't really feel bad. I just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As cold as that sounds, right?
Right.
So yeah, so Maggie blows herself up, taking out the majority of the mercs, right? As Six gets outside, he gets basically about to get arrested, and he beats up a couple cops. And then he starts to take off, and then all of a sudden he just gets hit by a car. Now I looked away at this moment, and then looked up when he got hit. Was it the cops that hit him, or was it just like a random pedestrian?
It was a random pedestrian.
Okay, okay. Because I was like, damn, those cops hit him with the car. I was like, that's serious. You know what I mean?
That's next level.
Right? Yeah. So that I was like, oh, okay, okay. So basically, they handcuff him to a bench and they call in. I don't know why they did this. It made no sense to me, right? They called in backup to move him when they already had him and they moved him to that chair. So it's not like they couldn't have moved him into a car and
Right.
drove him away, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so while they're waiting there for backup, the mercenaries show up, and these guys look like something straight out of like Tom Clancy's, like any of those video
Rainbow
games.
Six or something.
Yeah, and they show
I,
up with the ski masks with the skulls on them, right?
yeah. It was so unbelievably convenient how Six was able to avoid all of this, like this collateral bullet fire and stuff like that, or excess bullet fire, because like, and he was even able to escape out of his handcuffs at all because the police were so distracted by the henchmen. It's like everyone just forgot about him, and he was able to do whatever he wanted almost. I mean, like there were
Yeah.
a few times where like, oh, he has to reach for the gun. Oh no, there's gunfire, but still, like you think the mercenaries would have been focused on him and not the police. They weren't, like, I feel like they weren't very good.
No, they weren't, right? And yes, the mercs were definitely paying more attention to the cops. Like, he was behind a stone bench, right? if they just focused fire on that bench would have been torn to shreds,
Right.
and then they would have died. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Right.
it wasn't very good, right? So yeah,
It just kind of like lended more evidence that Lloyd was just a horrible leader and like someone you should
yeah,
never follow.
yeah.
Because
I
like
mean,
if they were smart, like the mercenaries like would have waited for Six to be put like handcuffed into a car or something like that, then taken out the car. But no, they just had
exactly.
to shoot up everything and just be like totally obvious. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that also leads to, yes, other than being a terrible leader, like how messed up in the head Lloyd actually is, right?
See, to me, that's that's like not valid. It's not valid to just be able to like dismiss your bad guy. It's like, oh, he's just like that because he's crazy. I much prefer bad guys who are intelligent. When they're idiots, I feel like they're less of a threat.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like that's one of the
No,
reasons
I
why I never
agree.
really found Chris Evans as threatening throughout this entire film.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I thought he was kind of like a just a clown, right?
Absolutely.
And not even the good kind of clown,
Is
right?
there a good kind?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, the Joker. Come on.
Nah, he's
Everybody
bad.
everybody loves the Joker. Regardless though. You do enjoy the Joker, do you not?
I do. Yeah,
Yes. So, that's what I mean. He's a good
that's
clown.
fair.
All right. Yeah, so all this gunfire, Six starts to get away. He jumps on the streetcar, right? And
It wasn't even a streetcar. It was like yeah, it was like a I guess it was like a light rail kind of thing. But I want to know who the hell was driving it, and like
I don't
why
think there
like
was anybody. Like
it was so weird.
it was just going. Like I don't know if the guy maybe like after all the gunfire started, like maybe he just jumped out and like left it because it was just moving on its own and it just picked up speed. Like it was
They
going way
should have shown
faster.
that. Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
way too
probably for sure.
fast for like an urban area like that.
Yeah,
A highly
yeah,
populated area. It was weird
yeah,
because like it conveniently stopped at his location. He got on, and then yeah, you're right. It just continued to ramp up speed and just got like taken apart and just kept going. And I was like, the whole time, I was like, what's going on here? Who the hell is driving this? I would have loved if they would have shown that like the engineer got killed or something like that. It would have
yeah,
made
right.
sense then.
And what the other thing that didn't make sense is why was it moving and the doors were opened, right? Like it wouldn't have been moving with the doors opened, right?
You'd think.
Yeah, I don't know. And then why didn't he just like hide in there? Like if he didn't shoot that guy, they wouldn't have known he was on there, and then they would have just continued to go, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so but yeah, so that leads into some ah a fairly decent scene, like shooting on the. I liked him getting the shield and stuff, but it wasn't anything special, right?
To me, this whole scene right here was the most problematic action scene in the whole film. And we've talked about some of it already, but even in terms of like CG, like towards the end of the train scene, like he's like running on the top of it, but like you would figure he would be sprinting, like sort of the way like Shang-Chi was sprinting on top of the bus. But it looked like in this film, like he was just like almost jogging. Ryan Reynolds is such a low energy actor, which kind of gives him like this cool factor and kind of like this mystique. But when you need to see him running, he needs to be able to run and like
Okay.
believably be running on top of a train, which I did not believe because even the explosions behind him and stuff, and when he jumped, it was all just a CG mess. They try to hide it with like all like the smoke and stuff, but you could tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure. And then he just land. It just so happens to land on the hood of the car,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So yeah. So Miranda like shows up. She takes out.
Finally,
Yeah. Right. She takes out the cars chasing it. Then we have the whole over the top crashing of the light rail or whatever the hell it is. Right.
yeah.
He lands on the hood of the car, and then basically he gets off and he just walks in and then gets into the car and they drive off. Right.
He's like, oh,
Like
I'm fine, I'm fine. I was like, oh, jeez.
yeah, that's it, right? So then we see Lloyd, he's trying to contact his men. They're pretty much all dead, I'm assuming, right? Then he gets a hold of one guy, and his name
The
is
lone wolf.
the Lone Wolf, right?
Of course
And
it
I was
is.
like, that's pretty cool, right? And the guy, like, that character wasn't bad, right? And he was an assassin with morals, which I thought was very weird.
Yeah, he was all about honor, which I think like honor among assassins is a pretty cool thing. I agree. I liked this character.
Yeah, right. But yes, but what I mean by weird is it's different. Like, not that it's bad, right?
Yeah.
It was, yeah, it was just different. But I mean, going off of this movie, that just seems to be like all of these assassins like have an issue with killing kids, right? Which again,
Which is
I
good.
definitely yes, right, is good, but doesn't seem like they're doing the very good job. Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
You'd think that characters like these would not let morals conflict with their duty,
Right.
in a
And
sense.
it's just like that new Liam Neeson movie that's coming out where he gets hired to go take out somebody and it turns out to be a kid. So he doesn't kill the kid. He takes the kid with him and you know what I mean? Then I guess now he's
Yeah.
hunting down the people who did the hit. Like I'm like, okay, like what are up with all these assassins, right?
You kind of have to assume that, in training to become an assassin, like you understand that any orders that come down that may seem immoral are for the larger good,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And that by not taking this person out, then it will result in more bad things happening, or a greater evil than taking whatever your target is out.
No, for sure.
And of course, you can't have the good guy of your film feel that way, but the bad guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're bad for a reason.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. All right. So then we see Six and Miranda. They sneak into like an animal hospital to patch themselves up. Then they use like the computer to hack in and use the number they got before to track down the pacemaker to find the actual location of the pacemaker, right?
That's right.
And as they get the location, the lone wolf shows up and he beats the hell out of both of them, right? Six gets stabbed, right? Which I thought was very like again, right? Like he got stabbed, didn't make a noise, and he was just like, "Oh, all right, I got stabbed." Like
Just
just
walks it
like
off. He just walks
yeah,
it off.
like so yeah. So he beats the crap out of them. Then he gets the upper hand. He grabs the necklace because the necklace ended up on the ground somehow, and then he jumps out of the window and he takes off. Like he's like, "I'm here. I got what I came for, and I'm out." Right.
How did you even know it was the necklace?
To be honest, I have no. Oh well, because originally when they went to go grab the body of Four, they were like, "Where's the like?" They showed it and had a picture of him showing the necklace,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so yeah,
you're right.
when they found the body, then there was no necklace. That's the only connection I had with like that I could see with the necklace, right? So I'm gonna go with that, but that's again another plot hole, right? And why the hell did he put the thumb drive back in the damn necklace? Why didn't he just like put it in his shoe? Like, come on, Spy 101. You got
Less
to get
obvious
better
place.
hiding places, right?
Right. Yeah. What did you think
So
of the gag with the empty gun?
I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I thought it was very stupid. I for one, I don't know why the gun wouldn't have had at least a shell in it, right? Because I don't think cops are running around with shotguns that aren't loaded to begin with, right?
That's a
So
good question. I don't know.
yeah, right.
Maybe
So
I felt like of all the things that they were gonna like focus on like realism with after this horrendous like train crash scene action scene, now they kind of like try and bring it back to reality. It's like, okay, you don't throw a loaded gun, you never do throw a loaded gun. Okay, what about all the things you just did that were just like implausible, like getting up off of a car after you just like landed on the roof perfectly, and it
yeah,
just,
right.
I don't know.
So you don't throw a loaded gun, but you can smash somebody over the face with one, right?
I
I don't,
guess.
right? Like it just yeah, that just doesn't make sense. And I think that was just kind of a throwaway line so that they could use it at the end of the movie, right? Like
Oh
where
yeah.
his stance is like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to throw you a loaded gun." I don't do
Right.
that. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I did think that was weird cuz people toss each other the guns all in everything. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
feel like I've seen that all the time in movies.
Yeah, right. So
But
yeah,
but
that
now
was
now every time I see someone throw a gun, I'm gonna be like, ah, you don't throw loaded guns.
right. Or at least Ryan Gosling doesn't.
Right.
Oh, I just want to point out you called him Ryan Reynolds earlier.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, but you were
Yeah,
on like you were on like a roll, so I was like, I'm not gonna interrupt you. I'm just gonna let you go. Like
that's fine.
I was like, everybody's gonna know what you mean anyways, right?
Yeah.
So so yeah. Yeah, so Buddy jumps out the window and the cops go to arrest him. So he causes this scene to escape, jumps on a motorcycle, takes off. Right, and this causes a distraction where the cops all of a sudden forgot about the other guy they saw jumping out of the jumping out of the window of the hospital, right? So that causes enough distraction. We get the whole empty gun thing, which I thought was stupid. You know what I mean? On
Yeah.
both sides too, right? Because he's like, "Get down," and she was just like, "You gave me an empty gun," and it's like, "Get down!" Like, let him take the shot. So like, they could have
Right.
stopped that right there. You know what I mean? But stupidity on both sides.
I do have to say, for as lame as the joke was, they did perform it well. Like
Yes.
both Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas sold the joke. It just wasn't a very good joke.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. But said distraction still allowed Six and Miranda to both have shotguns out in the open, like, and then they're still able to get away after, right?
With cops
Like the
all around him.
but the cops were chasing the guy on the motorcycle. So why did they think they would be able to get away with pointing guns at the guy on the motorcycle and the cops wouldn't have been coming that direction, right? They would have been following the bike, right? So that didn't really make any sense, but
Sure.
you know what I mean? Oh
Right.
well, right? So, yeah, so then again, Six and Miranda they get away. Oh, my bad. They didn't break into the animal hospital earlier. They broke into the real hospital,
I thought
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that yeah. Yeah,
So
cuz
yeah, the vet comes after the actual
yeah.
hospital.
Yeah, so they break into the vet clinic now, right? Patch themselves up from his like stab wound, yada yada. And then this is where we learned a bit about Six's backstory. We learned that he killed his dad, right? And then basically we pick up with so he kills his dad, right? And he's basically been in prison ever since, and that's where Fitz found him, right? So
Right.
again, still don't know how long he's actually been there, which again, like you said, would have been some good information to know, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to just, keep you interested so you come back to see if in the next movie they give him backstory. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? So yeah, so then we pick up with the wolf. He gets to the place where Lloyd is and the Fitz is, and then we see Six is now all of a sudden there. He takes out a couple guards, right? They cut the power, they infiltrate the house, and this is where we get to see Miranda just being a complete badass. Like she was there by
Right.
herself, and it seemed like there was an army out there, right? Like if you were in the house, would you not have thought that there was like, you know what I mean, at least a squad of people out there?
Totally. Totally.
Y-
It helps that she had a really badass gun,
Yeah, like
like
she
a
had
grenade
RPG.
launcher. Yeah.
Or yeah, she was stacked, man. And then yeah, and then even still she had some kind of crazy rifle when she walked into the house too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's true.
she was equipped, right? To the teeth, right? So she's blowing up shit, she draws a distraction, right? Everybody runs outside and again, just all the explosions, everything that was going off. You would have assumed that there was more than just one badass chick doing this,
It
right?
was pretty ballsy of her. Like you just have to admire her for her bravery in doing that. Just what a badass character.
Yeah, for sure, right? So then we see Six, and now Six has infiltrated the house, right? And the thing about this that I really actually liked is like what you were saying was they switched the roles, right? Normally it would have been like Ryan Gosling outside of the house doing all of that shit. And the chick, she would have been inside, you know, trying to see like quietly grab everybody, right? So I did enjoy that switch, right? But it
Yeah.
also wouldn't have made sense for the girl to go in and then they would have been like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Who are you? Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, I thought that was pretty cool, but at this point, Lloyd realizes what's going on is just a distraction, so he goes and heads back to the room, right? And then at this point, we see Miranda again, and she blows up the command center, right? Like, she takes the RPG and blows up the command center, right?
Right.
And then we see like Six, he's leading the Fitzes, like he's leading them out, and they get spotted. And old Fitz, he gets shot, right? So he decides that he's going to stay behind. He keeps a grenade, for exactly what what's her face did earlier in the movie, right? They just like to blow up old people. Straight up
Totally,
though,
that's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah,
Like
it's like
yeah,
I'm just
like
gonna die
Maddie.
anyway. I'm gonna die
Yeah,
anyway. I'm just gonna just go.
yeah, right. So yeah, so Claire and Six, they jump off the side of the castle into like the water, right? And Claire
Yeah,
is perfectly fine. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Whatever. We'll we'll leave that be. And then we see Fitz, he almost blows up, Lloyd, right? And Lloyd somehow stops a grenade with another human body, which I don't think that's how explosions work. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
the shrapnel would have torn through both of them. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I just hate the fact that he also had time to call him a douche. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's he is literally like in the 6th grade.
Right? Like, yeah, that was so stupid.
I could just see like the Russos being like, "Oh, Chris, we totally want to work with you again. We have the perfect role for you. It's you're gonna play the bad guy." And Chris is just like, "Oh, can I play him like me in the 6th grade?" And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's go with it." And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just a
right?
weird choice. And
Yeah.
I feel like the Russos should have known that as they were directing him, but
Yeah. Yeah, it was yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, this movie was like up and down, like yeah, I don't know, right? So then we pick up back in the command center and we see that the wolf, he survived, right? He picks up the necklace, right? And again, why, right? But I mean, if he is like an assassin or a spy or whatever, it would make sense that if he knows that there's something important on there to keep it because he can make profit off of it. At least
right,
that would be my thoughts as
yeah,
international spy or assassin, right?
yeah,
Um, use it to my advantage. So I guess that makes sense there. But he picks it up, and at this point, Miranda comes into the house with her badass gun that she never uses. And the two of them start to fight. They have a cool back and forth. Like, what did you think about that fight with like the electric wire around each other's necks?
it got pretty intense. Like it was around both of their necks, and they were just like yanking and like real hard. It looked like, and yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I liked all of Ana de Armas's fight scenes. I thought she did
Yeah.
a great job.
No, she was great in the movie all around, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, no, I enjoyed everything she was in. So after that, he stands up, he looks at her, and he just like gives her the necklace, and he's like, "Yeah, these people don't have no honor. Fuck them." And then he leaves, right?
which is what any sane person would do after being around Lloyd for like 30 seconds. So I'm kind of glad that that happened. Like right when he just like took like a big sigh, I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, good, yes, someone tell Lloyd that he could go fuck himself, essentially.
Yeah,
So
right. And honestly thought he was gonna be the one to kill Lloyd. Like I thought that's why he was still there, right? Because after he said, like, get this guy out of here, don't pay him, right?
yeah,
Like if you were in that position, would you not have actually just left? Right? Like, oh, we're
right.
getting attacked. I'd be like, okay, good for you guys. See ya. I'm out of here.
Peace
Right?
out.
Yeah. So I thought they were keeping him around for said reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, but meh, they didn't. He leaves and that's the end of him, right?
right.
So then we pick up with Six, Claire, and Lloyd, and the two of them. Like I guess Lloyd jumped off the castle too, right? Like
Yes.
he jumped down. So yeah, he jumps down. He confronts them. The two of them start to fight, right? The girl shoots Lloyd in the back with a flare gun,
Right.
right?
Right.
And Lloyd also loses two fingers. I missed how he lost the two fingers.
Lloyd got injured by the flare. He got burned by the flare, and that gave Six the opportunity to shoot off two of those fingers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's
So
how it happened. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Now, do you know anything about flare guns?
I don't know that much, but I would assume that there's only one flare per round. Like you
Okay,
can't
that's what
load
I thought.
multiple flares.
Yeah, right?
So
So,
when they're still brandishing it as like something that you could like shoot someone to death with, like I thought it was kind of silly because I was like I don't think that it's that lethal.
right? And I thought that's the reason why he walked up on the girl because he knew that even if she pulled the trigger again, it wasn't going to shoot anything because it's a freaking flare gun,
Right.
right? But yeah, so so he grabs the girl, he goes into the, the typical maze, right? So we get this scene
Of
of the
course.
maze. Yeah, you know what I
I
mean?
I totally rolled my eyes when I saw the maze. I was like, of course, there's a fucking maze, hedge
Yeah,
maze.
right. So, they do this whole travel through the maze, right? Which, honest to God, that was so pointless. They could have just done a scene where they're running through like a lot or something, and then they met up at the end. That's it. They
True.
didn't need this whole maze thing. Like, there was nothing special about the maze, right?
It would have been
And
cool if it was like
everybody,
the forest or something. You know.
yeah, right? Like it could have worked with anything, right? But yeah, so they end up meeting up in the middle of the maze, right? Six is contacted by Miranda, and she says she's got a sight of Lloyd, so she'll take the shot. And Six tells him no, like, no, don't worry about it. And you just meet with the girl. So Six and Lloyd agree to basically throw hands, which I thought was I knew Lloyd was gonna pull a weapon out, right? It was
Of course,
so
he's Lloyd.
obvious,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, right. So Lloyd sends the girl over. Six sends the girl to go meet Miranda, and the two of them face off, and they have a little back and forth, throwing hands. Six beats the crap out of him, right? And then Lloyd pulls a knife, right? Lloyd starts to get the upper hand, stabs the shit out of Six a whole bunch of times, and Six is just like, all right, cool. I got stabbed again,
Just walk it off. Just walk it off.
right? Yeah, right. So, right. So then, Lloyd has the upper hand. He starts drowning him, right? And this is where we get flashbacks of somebody being drowned in the tub. So that's why also, again, I thought that kid was Six as well, right? Because
Right.
of
Yeah.
that
It's
whole,
like, was this the moment where he decided to like kill his father or something like that? You know.
yeah, you know what
And
I
then,
mean?
and then
Or,
we would have seen that play out in real time where he actually kills Lloyd. That's what I thought was going to happen. But then you get like the worst moment of Deus Ex Machina in this film. Like there were a number of times when Six was saved by like Miranda, and he even commented saying like, this is the like second time you've saved me. I would like to save you at least once.
yeah.
But this moment where Jessica Henwick's character shoots Lloyd and kind of gets that kill was borderline unforgivable for me in this film. It kind of, first of all, I didn't like the fact that Six didn't go through with Miranda just shooting Lloyd. The fact that he would kind of stoop to Lloyd's level and kind of play his game really bothered me. But for him to then not take the kill shot, as it were, it was so anticlimactic and anti-cathartic. I really didn't like that.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I was looking for like a neck snap,
Right,
something
something
along those
cool.
lines. Yeah,
Right.
right.
If it's gonna happen, like have it be done in a really cool way and not in a way that's just going to like ruin the whole movie.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so Six gets the upper hand. He's choking out Lloyd, and Susan shows up, shoots Lloyd in the chest, killing him, and then she shoots Six in the leg. They have a quick back and forth. She tells him, "Oh, you're going to be going back to jail, right? But I need you to be a witness, and so we can blame everything on Lloyd, right?"
Yeah,
And
Jessica Chenwick, she's a good actress, and I feel like she's a really hot commodity right now. Like having been in The Matrix, and to a lesser extent, Marvel's Iron Fist, because that show sucked. But she's a
she
good
was the best
actress.
thing about that show.
She absolutely was. I felt like she was so wasted in this film.
Yeah,
She was
she
just
really didn't
there.
do anything.
Yeah, she was there to essentially just yell at Lloyd. And I'm not quite sure why she was even put in charge of the operations anyway, because she absolutely was not in charge. You kind of feel like Lloyd didn't want or need her there. She was just kind of there for no damn reason, just to have Jessica Chenwick in the movie because she's
Yeah.
cool. I didn't like that aspect either, and I'm not sure if she's in the book. She might be. I'm not even sure how faithful this whole movie was to like the initial book because I know it's a series. I kind of assumed maybe they borrowed some different aspects from different books. I could be wrong, but yeah, I didn't care for her character at all, which is sad because Jessica Chenwick is awesome as an actress.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Basically, we see everybody getting carried out, right? Six is on a stretcher. Miranda is, I'm assuming she was getting arrested, and Claire is being patched up at the an ambulance, right?
Right.
We cut to 2 weeks later. We see Six. He's like strapped to a bed. Then we see Miranda, Susan, and Carmichael. They get let off the hook because they blamed everything on Lloyd. So, you know what I mean? Nothing happens there, which was stupid, right?
Yeah, they were let off the hook by one of the Russo brothers. Um, I forget which Russo brother it is, but he played a role in, I think it was Endgame as well. They like to they like to put themselves in their own movies.
All right. So then we see Susan and Carmichael. They're walking out, and it now looks like Susan's kind of like the head dog, right? Like it looks like Michael is kind of kissing her ass,
Ish. Yeah, kind of
right? Kind of.
begrudgingly,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it seems like she's like, yeah, like I have this on you. I saved your ass. Now you work for me. That's the kind of vibe I got at the end of the movie.
Right.
So she's up to something, right? She still has the kid locked away. So
Yeah, she has aspirations for power.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And so instead of killing Six, she keeps him alive because why destroy a good asset like that? And then they head down to go see Six, and all the bodyguards are dead, and Six is gone. Then we
Yeah.
cut back to where Claire is, and Claire gets a record with a note that says, put on, like, turn me on loud or play me loud, right?
Right.
Turns the music on. We hear all the gunfire in the back. She's like crying. I assume those were like tears of joy because she's like, okay, cool. He's come to save me.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I couldn't tell if
Yeah,
like she was sad that she had to be around more like death and stuff, or she was just happy. It was weird. It was not weird. It was ambiguous.
yeah, right. So yeah, it was just up in the air, right? And yeah, then we see Six walk in. She's happy. She runs to him. They leave, and that's the end of the movie,
Yeah.
right?
Well, one thing real quick we didn't mention was what happens to Miranda at the end. Like essentially, she goes to Carmichael and is like, uh, you either kind of like don't screw me over, or I'll like turn on you and I'll let people know what I know or whatever.
Yeah,
It seemed out of character for her to do that because she was so heroic and so like on Six's side. I don't understand why she would keep Carmichael's activities a secret just to further her career. Well, that's not very like heroic of her. It's not
yeah,
very admirable of her to do that. And then the fact that like they kind of, I really hated the way they treated her at the end. We saw her being a badass like towards this whole climactic end fight. Then at the end, like I feel like Carmichael got the last word, using her own words against her, and all she could do is smirk, and that was the end of her story, where he was like, "Please remove yourself from my personal space." I wish she would have just slapped him right across the face and been like, "Bitch,
I
you don't
that's
tell me
what
what
I
to
thought
do
was
anymore."
coming. I thought that was coming, honestly. Like I was like, oh, is she gonna get her like stuff back? And yeah, no, that was kind of a waste of all that badassery earlier in the movie. I totally agree.
Disappointing.
I
Yeah, because
totally agree.
she just remained in the status quo, like still under him. It was stupid.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So now it's time for the good, the bad, and the meh. So since you're the guest, Johnny, I'm gonna ask you what was something good of this movie that you really enjoyed?
Well, the Russo brothers are fantastic action directors. That's why Marvel brought them on board. They proved that they could do action really well with the Winter Soldier. And like I mentioned earlier, they got really good at it and have become some of the most profitable directors in Hollywood. So the action in this film, for the most part, was top notch. They had some really great action scenes, specifically not the helicopter, the airplane scene.
Yeah.
Um, but to counter that, there's also one pretty bad action scene in the whole train sequence in Prague. But that was like the only one. That was the exception. For the most
Okay.
part, the action was great.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with you. Like, yeah, the action was definitely top notch there. Yeah, I'd have to probably say the same thing. Like the action, like there's a lot of other stuff that goes on in the movie that I can't really say I enjoyed too much, right?
Hmm.
So what was something that was kind of meh that you like, didn't really need to be in the movie?
The Met, I would say, is actually the story itself, the overall story. It was very generic for a spy film. I feel like we've seen mostly all of this before, from like the hedge maze to the like thumb drive to like the kidnapped niece, and it's we've seen it all before. It was very generic, very formulaic as a spy film. In some ways, that kind of made it enjoyable, and that it was like entertaining, but it wasn't groundbreaking in any way. So I think the story was as a whole was very meh.
Okay. No, that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, now going over it again and thinking about it, like, yeah, this movie was very, very generic, right? Very good choreography for the most part, but yeah, movie was very generic. I'd have to say something that was meh for me was kind of just Ryan Gosling's acting, right? Like it was just so bland, and it was just like, come on, man. Like I know you're supposed to be like a badass, but like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Stallone, right? Those guys are complete badasses, and when they get hurt, they scream out. You know what I mean? So
That's
I'm
true.
sorry, but like Ryan Gosling, you were nowhere near as badass as those two men. And you know what I mean? They weren't like, so like I didn't really care for like the overly tough guy kind of acting that he did in this movie.
That's fair. Like you even take a film at like John Wick. Like when John Wick gets hurt, he grimaces. You can see that
Yeah.
he's in pain. I
Yeah.
guess Ryan Reynolds, his father taught him to
Gosling.
ignore pain. Did I
Yeah.
say Reynolds again?
You did, yeah.
Motherfucker. Ryan Gosling, his character of Six. They did establish that his father taught him to deal with pain with like the cigarette burns and stuff like that. And maybe that's an aspect of him in the book. Like you think of other kind of famous spy characters like James Bond. He has his charm. Jack Reacher, he has like his height and his like literal reach. Maybe Six's like superpower is that he is able to easily brush off pain, but it did kind of take you out of the movie when he was
Yeah.
stabbed like in the lungs and stuff like that, and just still able to walk it off like nothing happened. When he was able to land on top of a car and just like stand up and like look around like a badass, almost like in a superhero kind of pose. It's just like okay,
Yeah.
buddy, sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you're a normal dude. Like, act like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what would your bad have been for the movie then?
My bad is Chris Evans as Lloyd. I did not like the character of Lloyd. I thought he was horribly written. I thought his whole motivation was unjustified. The fact that he's crazy is not a motivation to me. I didn't understand why anyone would work with him or work for him, as I mentioned earlier. I didn't like Chris Evans' acting. I didn't like anything about Lloyd. I did not like a single thing about him. I didn't think his jokes were very funny. I just thought he was a huge douche and not a good villain.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with that. But just to be a little bit different, I'm gonna say Susan's character. Like, I just
Yeah.
didn't understand like her motivations. Like, why was she doing what she was doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just to get a leg up on Carmichael. Like, I
Right.
didn't quite understand her whole like. And then again, her presence in the movie just didn't really even need to be there, right? Like, it
Yeah.
made no sense why she was there. So that would definitely
Absolutely.
have to be my bad, right? So.
Yeah.
With that being said, next week I might be taking a week off. I'm taking the week off of doing the TV episode this week, right? So no TV episode unless I'm not lazy and I binge something tonight and record it tomorrow and put it out for you guys.
I know how that
Um,
goes.
yeah, but I'm just because yeah, John's taking his break, and yeah, I kind of need a break too. So I'm just gonna take it easy. I'll just do the movies. So next week, I'm gonna be doing everything, everywhere, all at the same time. I believe
Oh,
that's what it's called.
everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes, everything, everywhere, all at once. Right.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's next week's movie. So with that being said, thanks for coming out, Johnny. I totally appreciate it. And like I said, John probably would have loved to been here, right? And again, you and your brother, inspired us to make our own podcast, right? So we can express how we feel about these movies, and we truly, truly appreciate it. So it is definitely an honor having you on. So yeah,
It's an honor to be here, and it was a blast. And we totally appreciate you guys, crediting us for inspiring you to start your own podcast. You guys are doing awesome. We love your show. And again, yeah, happy to be on board. Happy to talk about something other than superheroes for once. I had a lot to say about this film. I didn't think I did, but it was a lot of fun. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, and anytime, man, anytime you're available, man. Like I'd I'd love to have you on. So
Sweet.
you just let us know. Oh, hey guys, you need a person, and yeah, we'll have you on whenever.
Cool.
So yeah, truly, truly appreciate it. So tell them about your podcast and where to find you.
So yeah, my twin brother and I, we have a podcast called Dynamic Duel, and that's DUEL, where we basically just argue over which comic company and film studio is better between Marvel and DC. I'm the DC guy, hence the Johnny DC moniker. My twin brother Joseph, he goes by Marvelous Joe, and we talk about movies. We also talk about characters, and we pit them in battle simulations. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it since 2016 now, and we're still having a blast with it. So definitely check us out. You can find us on our website, dynamicduel.com. Again, that's DUEL. And on social media, primarily Instagram. That's where we are primarily. Yeah, so check us out.
Awesome. So yeah, check them out. And yeah, Dynamic Duel on most social media, right?
Primarily Instagram, but you can find us on most podcast platforms as well, like Spotify, like Stitcher, like Apple Podcasts. So.
Yeah. So it's Dynamic Duel Marvel versus DC when you look it up.
DC
right?
versus Marvel.
DC versus Marvel. My bad.
Because DC comes first alphabetically and it's better.
Yeah, no, for sure. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, you know me, right? Right? My name's Blue for a reason, right?
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks again for coming out. You can find our podcast on all podcasting platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. You could also find us on YouTube. And yeah, check out our social medias, Movie Night with the Boys podcast. John usually does this, so I'm going to have to write them down for the next episode. But wherever you find podcasts, that's where we're at. On social media, we're also there, right? So, yeah, with that being said, I guess, I could do my same outro because your name is also John, technically.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So, all right. So, with that being said, John, it's been real. Deuces.
Thank you all so much for listening to Movie Night with the Boys.